Hello, everyone. Welcome to Not Your Father's Movies. I'm Vito.
I'm Mike.
And I am Jesse, and we are the Dad Fathers coming at you with some fragile dad envy.
Must be Italian.
Look, it's spelled just like escape. Escape. We're not doing Finding Nemo this evening. In fact, we'd like to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to all of you who are listening to us right now. This is our special Christmas holiday episode of Not Your Father's Movies. We're doing a Christmas story this year.
Woohoo!
It's pretty exciting. I know that Jesse and Mike, you guys love this one, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm pumped. I am pumped for this. This is a moment I've always waited for. I didn't know.
Just couldn't wait till someone would pay me to talk about A Christmas Story. I mean, no one's paying me for it, but here I am talking about it. So
well, you record it, and then a bunch of people are going to hear what you have to say, and they can't respond in real time.
It's amazing.
It's a dream come true. Shut up and listen to what we have to say. But we're here because last Christmas there was a lot of discussion back and forth. We eventually ruled on that we would do Home Alone. So please listen back to our last Christmas episode for Home Alone. But this one was neck and neck. It was Home Alone and A Christmas Story, and Home Alone just edged it out at the final second because I haven't seen A Christmas Story.
Had not.
Yeah.
Have not. Still haven't seen it. Doing the episode anyway. No, but I have finally seen it this year, and I'm really excited to talk to you guys about it. Maybe as a first order of business here, though, this movie is obviously so important to both of you growing up. Jesse, would you like to tell us some of your nostalgia for A Christmas Story?
Yeah. Lots of nostalgia here. I mean, I watched this since I was like fairly young. I mean, I don't know if you guys had this experience, but like this, we didn't ever own this movie, right? It was either rented or, more reliably, it would be on TBS for like a week straight.
Yeah.
Yep.
There were some days where they played nothing but A Christmas Story.
Wow.
To the point where we got sick of this movie and we wouldn't watch it some years just because it's just like, this is
taking a break.
We've seen this too many times. It's everywhere, and we just like, you know how you see a movie too much, you're like, that's it.
Yep.
Like, it's on billboards now, and it's old. Like, who wants to watch this movie again? But yeah, there were like a few Christmas staples that we had, or that I watched regularly, like a Santa Claus, Home Alone, Elf. What's another one? Like as I got older, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Sure. Did you say It's a Wonderful Life?
No.
Whoa, was that on purpose?
I like It's a Wonderful Life, but like that was not a staple in my house for some reason. Like we watched it like every few years.
Okay.
Yeah. And I knew it, I liked it, I still like it, but like it was we watched comedies.
I'm just like in stunned
Christmas
silence.
comedies.
I'm sitting here going like, what? But it's amazing. Like, what a window into a different childhood than I had.
Yeah, no, we've always liked comedies, especially like Christmas. Christmas and comedies always went hand in hand. I mean, nobody ever wanted to watch like a serious Christmas movie. Even like, I guess one would be like, what's the Ebenezer Scrooge one? That one.
Scrooged?
We'd watch. No, there's like the real one. The real one. Yeah, Christmas Carol.
Wait, or the Muppets Christmas Carol.
I watched that regularly throughout the year. That was not even a Christmas movie. That was just a damn good movie.
Nice.
But anyway, so there were like lots of movies, but I was always like drawn to this one in particular because it's the only one where like I related like hardcore to Ralphie. Mm-hmm. Like all the other ones, like there's Kevin, like I guess the closest one is Home Alone with Kevin, and it's like I sort of relate to him, but his whole situation is so bizarre.
Sure. Like
his family is going to France for Christmas. Like who does that? You assholes. This just like little family and this kid who's really excited for Christmas, who fantasizes about like revenge that he's on his parents because he's going to go blind and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I did stuff like that as a kid, like almost regularly. So like I find a lot of myself in Ralphie, even though this is, 1940 in a childhood I never really had. And because I never even had a white Christmas or anything like that, I just like it for the Ralphie And then, of course, all of these lines have been like embedded in my family. Like my brother used to go around saying, "Not a finger," like if he didn't want us to touch something. Or yeah, or fragile. Like anytime I've moved anywhere and I'm carrying boxes, that is going to be on mine and probably and other people around me's lips. Like we're always saying that with every single box. It's really irritating. I think that's a dad staple at this point, right?
Yeah. I knew that joke, but I knew it from somewhere else, somewhere more recent. Like I don't know if that was like I think I heard that from at work at one of my workplaces at one point, where someone said fragile must be French.
Yeah,
and I thought that guy was really funny.
Yeah,
yeah. Everything is a reference, I suppose.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's great.
That was really
I mean, that is a great joke. But yeah, this is state of my life, and it's constantly been in my life. And yeah, I love this movie.
Wow.
Mike,
are you exactly the same way?
You know, I actually didn't see this until I was in like my late teens, I guess. My mom had kind of forgotten about it, and then someone invited us over to watch A Christmas Story. Mom was like, "Oh yeah, that's a great movie. You guys have seen that, right?" We're like, "What is A Christmas Story? We have no idea what this is." And she's like, "Oh, well, you know, it's like about a kid or whatever." And for us, the Christmas movies that we watched growing up were primarily serious or musicals.
Yeah.
If not serious musicals.
Same childhood, yeah.
Yeah. Same childhood. A Wonderful Life was a staple. White Christmas. You know, I kind of hate Meet Me in St. Louis.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah. But it was there as a staple of my childhood.
I mean, Meet Me in St. Louis. She'll be waiting there.
Yeah. And so, like, my mom was like, I don't know why she thought that we had seen this. So we go over it and I'm like, oh, this is going to be like a really serious movie because the people who were invited us over were people I considered very serious people at 16 years old or something. And it just knocked my socks off. It was hilarious. And I felt like the movie itself is an experience of nostalgia as a 16-year-old or as a 30-year-old, where you're like, I remember being like this, you know, at 16, half a lifetime ago, when I was 8, you know, or when I was 6 or something. And it's just, I mean, since then we've watched it every year. It's a staple in our household. I love it. It was so much fun to sit down and watch it again. With my wife. My wife hadn't seen it since she was a teenager, at which point she had hated it.
Interesting. Too flippant?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think that she was very serious as a teenager.
Makes sense.
Yeah, we didn't know each other then, which was probably good for both of us. And she loved it too. She was laughing her head off, and it was great. It was a fun family time.
That's cool, because last year I think it was last year that I showed it to my wife and my mother-in-law at the same time for their first time.
Oh, wow.
They watched It's a Wonderful Life like exclusively every year, apparently.
Yeah. I understand the purity of that. Yeah.
But no, to exclude all others, including Christmas Story, that I don't understand.
There's a shrine to Frank Capra and Jimmy Stewart in this house. Did they like it?
Yeah, they loved it. They loved it. Like Liz was like, I can't believe I've never seen that. I think she had gone out and got me like a Christmas Story sweater after seeing that too. Wow. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a staple in my house from now on.
Good job.
So
good job. Yeah, bringing those childhood traditions to bear. That's great.
That's right. And the mother-in-law liked it. So like,
it's a win-win. It's a win-win-win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That win.
4 wins. Previously unheard of. Yeah. You turn the poster into a shirt. That way you can see it whenever you look at Oscar, and he never has to see it. Oh, when are we going to do that? That'll be someday. I guess I was in a similar position as Liz. I had never seen this movie. And last year when it was pitched, I didn't even know that there was such a hardcore fan base, I guess, amongst people that I knew, because I'd always heard the one joke that I knew was from A Christmas Story about the little boy who can't put his arms down and falls in the snow. Because every time a little kid dresses up in a lot of stuff, everyone's like, oh, it's just like in A Christmas Story. So I knew that scene was in the movie, but I never got around to it, I guess. I don't know. We did It's a Wonderful Life. When I got older, there was some Elf watching. but really, or what we mostly did though was Bells of St. Mary and Going My Way. Those were really big Christmas movies for us.
Huh.
I
never
Bing Crosby.
Going My Way.
Those as Christmas movies.
Yeah, because Bells of St. Mary is a sequel to Going My Way. And I think Going My Way actually won Best Picture. Yeah.
Huh.
Same main character. What? Bing Crosby as the young priest.
I did not have enough mind to put together that fact when I was a kid.
It's like the loosest sequel you can imagine. Because Going My Way is like barely a movie anyway.
Yeah.
Very famous, like write up on that and how like every day was a new day and they'd have to write the scenes before they did them. And it won Best Picture, which is crazy. But like that was sort of my experience. Old Hollywood with some new stuff like Home Alone that was in there. And like Home Alone is and I think forever will be my number one Christmas movie. And right behind that is probably It's a Wonderful Life. So this one never gave it a chance. And I did watch it, and I liked it. I did like it. I think I might be too old. I might be too old for my first time.
Yeah.
Because I did not love it. I had a good time. I liked how the loose like vignette structure. Mm-hmm. I liked how it moves kind of like your memory of your childhood does. Yeah. Like, and then there was that one time that thing happened. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of how I remember stuff too.
Yeah.
I thought it was bizarre. Like I was mostly just shocked at how weird of a movie this was.
Yeah,
it's not
pretty like bonkers. Lack of plot. Yeah,
there's a lack of there's one singular thrust that they hang the movie on, right? Which is that he wants the BB gun.
Yeah,
and that's enough for a movie. Like, but I was just surprised at the various tangents that it took on the way to getting the BB gun. They're not all necessary. Yeah. They're not even all related. But it's like, oh, and then when I was growing up, there was this other weird thing that was going on. You know, my dad got this lamp. Like, what? What are we doing? Why is the lamp important? Like the movie is like weirdly horny sometimes. Like, why is this Christmas movie so horny?
But that's why
I was pulled away from the thrill of electric sex.
Electric sex.
Oh man, I think that's why that scene is so amazing. It's because it comes out of nowhere. Like he's talking about receiving a bowling alley in his house, and sure enough, a leg pops up. He's like, "It's a leg." But what is it? It's a statue.
This is a major award.
I was really laughing though, watching the little boy like keep trying to touch the leg, and the mom is like, "Stop it!
Get away from the leg! This is horrible!"
And then he puts it in the front window, and then he's going out there, and I was laughing because it was funny, but I was also just laughing like with incredulity. Like this movie like frequently moves into the fantastical without any warning at all. Like all of a sudden we're having a little shootout scene. But I guess I was just very unmoored when I was watching it. I had no idea what to expect when I saw the movie. And so I was just seeing it as a 28-year-old man with 2 children being like, all right, I'm watching this alone on like a Wednesday night. It was something. It really was something. Yeah. It did win me over in the end. I was definitely out on it about halfway through.
Yeah.
And it really brought me back though with what I just finally sunk into the rhythm of the movie.
Yeah.
When I think it was the moment was when he said, and the old man, now he was a turkey fiend. I don't know what it was about that line, but I was like, I think I get this movie now. I think I'm in. And of course that's the final scene, but it's like great because the dogs are rushing in and everything's like going to chaos. I don't know what it was, but that's when I got into lockstep with the movie, and I liked it. I liked it from then on. So no nostalgia, but it was something else.
Did it bring up some nostalgia for you? Like, did you were you like, oh yeah, I remember being a kid and this happening or that thing happening? There was like the kid who licked the pole, or I don't know.
Which I mean, I understand maybe now where the scene from Dumb and Dumber came from.
Yeah,
but I definitely had Dumb and Dumber in my head when I saw that, and I liked how all of his little friends like deserted him. It brought up it did bring up a lot of stuff. Like stuff that I remembered. I think we'll get into that in this episode.
Yeah.
I think I might just want to say, as far as if I would show this to my kids, I am not totally sold on my kids needing to see this again, because I didn't have that deep nostalgia. And I actually, my daughter still hasn't seen Home Alone, for example.
Yeah.
And still hasn't seen It's a Wonderful Life. Like there's some bigger Christmas movies that mean a lot more to me, but I could see doing this if we get tired of those, which will happen. I could see this being like a fun back pocket Christmas movie. My wife hasn't seen it, and I think that she might get a kick out of some scenes. So yeah, I'm a little bit more lukewarm, but I'm definitely not negative. Definitely not negative. I just the nostalgia is not strong with me on this one. I noticed conspicuously, Jesse, that when you said you showed it to Liz and your mother-in-law, you did not say you showed it to your kids.
Yeah, I don't think I did then, but they have seen half of it as of today.
Oh, all right.
The second half?
The second half. I just went all in, because like I just watched half of it by myself. And thing is, like, I don't think this movie's made to be watched like by yourself.
Sure.
I think you should be watching this with other people, because like I was watching it by myself and I was like kind of chuckling. I was just like, oh man, I kind of wish like Liz could see this part with me, or like, you know, my kids could like experience this part with them. Like, I think that's part of the beauty of this movie, is like it appeals to such a wide range of ages, like from the very young to the very old, because it's reminiscing about the past, or in my kid's case, they got really sucked in to like this kid just wanting to ask Santa Claus for a toy that he wanted.
That scene is horrifying. Like, it's scary.
Yeah, they were so weirded out, and it's such a bizarre scene. The elves,
it's like from the perspective of the kids.
Yeah. And the elves seem like they're out of this world. Like, you know, when he's like, when the male elf is saying like really mean things, his like little bobs going up and down at the same time. It feels like it should be out of the Grinch. Yeah, but it's so otherworldly that it just like captured their attention immediately. And then there's a whole Christmas Day scene, and they're familiar with that and they love that. Yeah, so like I have shown this to my kids. I intend to bring this with my family to the future. Yeah, because I think this is a great get together. Everybody just watch this and enjoy it kind of movie.
Nice. I think it's a strong argument actually against the lonely podcast host watching a movie late at night.
I did this for my film podcast.
We're talking about the film, about A Christmas Story.
Films.
Les Noël Story.
I think I can safely say this is not a film. This is a movie.
It is a movie. This is a fun-ass movie.
Yeah.
How about you, Mike? Did you show this to your kids?
I did not show it to my kids yet. No. I don't know when I'm going to show it to them. Because, like, I saw it when I was a teenager.
You were like, what are you, like 17?
I was like 16, 17 years old. And
I'm amazed that you were not jaded at that point and you could, like, accept this.
It was hilarious. It's hilarious. It is hilarious. I guess this is a screwball comedy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is a screwball comedy.
Oh, past guest Isaac. If this is not a screwball comedy, just get in our DMs, all right? We can have it out there. But I think all of us are saying it's pretty dang screwy.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's all over the place. It's hilarious. Yeah. I don't know. I guess there's some things in it that I wonder. I mean, like, the scene with the like the nuts from the car when he gets the flat tires.
Yeah.
Oh, fudge! But I didn't say fudge.
What is it? The F blank blank blank.
The F dash dash
dash.
That's right.
When I was really young, I was very confused. I was just like, but he said fudge. He's saying he didn't say fudge. What did he say?
Can I actually...
Is fudge a bad word?
Can I actually tell a story about that?
Yeah.
Because I had a very similar experience. So I was actually... I think I was actually 16. And my dad... I had this iPod that I loved. It was an iPod. It was like 128 gig classic.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Like chunky iPod.
Oh, yeah.
And it held everything. And it had so much more room.
You could like build a house with those
things. I used to drop the thing all the time. It didn't matter. The thing kept trucking.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, like I accidentally like tapped my iPod Shuffle, the touchscreen, in like 2013 on the side of a desk once, and it never worked again. But I had this beautiful iPod, and what my dad would do, because I love this thing, it's my most treasured possession, is he would like to hide it because he was a jerk sometimes. And he would hide it and he wouldn't tell me where it was. And I would go out of my mind trying to find it. And he wouldn't tell me he hid it. He would wait until I came to him to ask. And so sometimes days would go by where I just thought I like misplaced it, but he was just doing it to screw with me. I don't know why he really thought that was funny, but this one day I just had it. I just had it. I couldn't find my iPod. I had to do a ton of stuff, a lot of chores and some schoolwork. And I was so angry, and I'm calling his work phone. And it's getting close to the time he's supposed to be home, but I call his work phone. He doesn't pick up. I hang up the phone. I remember vividly, I'm standing in the bathroom with the cordless phone. And I just said, answer the phone. And he pokes his head around the corner and he goes, oh, I heard what you said. He's like, you're in so much trouble when your mom hears what you said. And I said, no, don't tell her. Just where's my iPod? He goes, I didn't hide it this time. You're in so much trouble. And he sent me to my room. And I had to go to my room, and he brought my mom up to my room, and he comes in, and he's like giggling, and he's like, you tell her what you said, and why. And I had to tell her the story, and I told her what I said it, and then I said the F word. He goes, no, what'd you say? I said, my mom said, oh. And she went, I'm 16 years old. She went, she got my toothbrush, she squirted out the hand soap in the bathroom onto the toothbrush as if it was legit ass toothpaste. And she made me brush my teeth with hand soap. And it was one of the most humiliating moments of my life. And all because I couldn't remember where I actually put my iPod. He didn't hide it that time. I just misplaced it.
Oh, wow.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Wow.
That is amazing.
And that was the last time I got my mouth washed out with soap. But when he was talking about the different kinds of soap, he was entirely right. Because I've had my mouth washed out with Dawn before. That is the worst. You do not want your mouth washed out with Dawn. Holy shit.
Oh, dude. All right. So my kids saw that soap scene. And what's funny is I, as a parent, have completely forgotten about soap as a possible punishment.
Because it's kids. Barbaric.
It is sort of barbaric, but also we're having issues right now. My kids play the penis game regularly. And I can't have this happen. And it's also like, what do I do? Like, what's an appropriate punishment? How do you control a kid's speech? You can't, but they saw this soap scene. And they got so horrified. So finally tonight, they're taking baths, and baths are the worst time for them, just like blurting out every word that they know about their bodies. So it's just like, if I hear one more word like that, I'm going to get the soap.
Nice.
And because they had seen that scene in A Christmas Story, they're like, they just shut up immediately. And my son even said, "Pee!" And then he turned around and looked at me. It's like, I didn't say it. It's like, no, you didn't. You're good. You're good. Everything's good.
Ooh.
So, yeah, I don't know what to say other than I'm happy now that my kids watch A Christmas Story and understand the soap concept.
Very smart.
See, now you're making a compelling argument, because I was going to say, I don't know, that puts, they don't know anything about an F word yet. Mm-hmm. Hopefully.
They might have heard me say it.
They might have heard me say it. I feel very akin to the father in some situations here. Fixing things tends to be.
My father was an artist with words.
And guess where he heard that word? From his father.
Yeah,
no.
Everyone knows that the old man is like the dirtiest mouth.
Yeah. No, from your son. What? What? What'd I do, Mom? What'd I do?
Okay, this episode is going to devolve into us just shouting quotes from the movie at each other.
I've never heard an episode on A Christmas Story, but I feel like they must all go that way.
Yeah.
They must.
So
I think they have to.
But I'm sorry, we keep interrupting. Get your point. Finish your point.
No, it's just this is going to put ideas about things that they can do that are naughty into saying words that begin with F, and I don't know, beating up kids or licking poles when it's cold. I don't know. It's like, I feel like there's dangerous territory that this goes into. But it sounds like, from your kid's perspective, it's actually working to the benefit, where they're like, oh, wait, no, if I do that, then I get in trouble.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yes, so far. Also, I'm trying to remember how I viewed the bully scene, but I remember distinctly thinking, oh, I'm so happy he's hitting the bully, and then there was a switch moment where it's like, oh, he's hitting the bully too much.
Yeah.
This is kind of sad, and I don't know how to feel about this because I relate to this kid. Oh, he's doing something bad that I should not do. There was that... Like, that was my 6-year-old Jesse self.
I was really reminded of that scene in The Office where they tell Michael that he's got to lean into the joke against himself, right?
Yeah.
So he starts making fun of himself, but then he goes really, really deep into some really personal stuff, and then he interrupts himself and goes, "Too far! Too far!" That's kind of how I felt watching him hit the kid. I was like, ooh, too far.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Okay, we should get into favorites.
Yeah.
But real quick, talking about some of the cast and crew, because I think this cast and crew is really interesting.
Yeah, it is.
So this is directed by Bob Clark, who you actually might know as the director of Porky's and Porky's 2. You know, the 80s sex comedies? Porky's and Porky's 2. So that's hard.
Okay.
Number one. But number 2, he's also the director of Black Christmas.
Tell us about Black Christmas, Vito, because you were telling me earlier.
So people say that Halloween is the first slasher, which very well might be. But Black Christmas actually comes first, and it does a lot of the same stuff as Halloween, but it's much dirtier. It's actually like, it still feels transgressive to watch. I actually just watched it back in October for the first time because I was just catching up on some historical horror films because I'm a sociopath. And I watched this movie, and it's about a phantom obscene caller who keeps terrorizing a sorority house. And it's gross. And the kills are nasty and mean. And a lot of it does that first person perspective of the guy like lurking outside the windows. That was really new and really inventive and frankly quite unsettling even today. And I think it's so strange that director who could pull off teen sex comedy and college first slasher film, like the thing that pushed a genre forward, could also do a beautiful, cute little nostalgic Christmas movie. Yeah. And then later on go do Baby Geniuses. I don't know who this man Bob Clark is, but he's one of the strangest careers I've ever seen.
He's a weird dude.
Yeah. He's a strange fella. So that's our director. I don't really know what to do with that information, but I've also seen way too much of this guy's work, and I was shocked that his name came up. But to shout out the little boy here, Peter Billingsley. He's also been in Elf, Zathura, Iron Man, and Spider-Man Far From Home.
He was a producer, at least on Iron Man.
He's a producer on that. He's also has a small role that he reprises in Spider-Man Far From Home.
Huh.
Okay.
Some guy named William
Who does
Givens.
he reprise?
I don't remember this character at all.
I don't know. I can't remember. I'm not that big into
the Marvel
universe to know.
I think what the role that he reprises, though, because remember in Spider-Man Far From Home, there's the bit because Mysterio turns out to be, spoilers for Spider-Man Far From Home, turns out to be a former employee of Stark Industries. And then it does that quick scene where it flashes back to all the people that worked for Stark Industries. I think he's probably in that. I don't even know if he showed up.
That's a big spoiler to figure out that Mysterio is actually the bad character.
Well, no, that he knew Tony Stark back then. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? I'm trying to be nice. He's also director of Couples Retreat, though, starring Jon Favreau and like Vince Vaughn and all these guys.
Yeah.
So like he knows Favreau.
Yeah.
They're buddies, I guess.
Yeah. He really hasn't been in much after this, right? Like,
except for the stuff
years.
I mentioned.
Well, except for the stuff you mentioned, but all of that's like years later, isn't it?
It is. Well, like, so Elf, right? It's Favreau. Zathura, that's Favreau. Iron Man, that's Favreau. Couples Retreat stars Favreau.
Yeah.
So he obviously is buddies, and then he's a producer on F is for Family, the Bill Burr animated Netflix show. Yeah. Like, this is a weird career for this fella. Yeah. This cute little boy. But he's in a ton of TV shows. He's in stuff like Punky Brewster. He's in some CBS school stuff. He's in a ton of stuff, but not anything big. Finally, I have Melinda Dillon from Slapshot, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Harry and the Hendersons, Magnolia, and Reign Over Me.
She was in Magnolia?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't recognize her.
Yeah.
I pulled all these credits up. I've seen all these movies, and I did not recognize her. Huh. Like, maybe Harry and the Hendersons I could have, but I think I saw that when I was a kid.
But she looks so average. And this, like, she just looks like
a normal,
straight suburban Midwest mom.
Yeah,
it's so hard to distinguish her from. I don't know. In your mind, it's hard to distinguish her as like a real person or a character with looks.
Yeah, yeah.
So it makes sense that you wouldn't recognize her because she got lost in the suburban mama.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I still like that's even if your only credits are Christmas Story, Slapshot, Close Encounters, Harry and the Hendersons, Magnolia, and Reign Over Me. That's a great career.
Oh yeah,
that's a great career.
Yeah.
And then finally, Darren Mcgavin. I know Darren McGavin is famous. I have looked through his filmography. It is long, but maybe he's best known for being in Billy Madison. Like, I remember him for Billy Madison.
In this.
But then he's also like in Airport 77, which I know is an important movie. But yeah, these all just seem like just working actors, just being in Hollywood. He's also in like a couple episodes of Gunsmoke.
I mean, who wasn't?
I know, right, yeah. But ton of stuff. Mannix, actually a huge TV career. So yeah, shout out Darren McGavin. That's kind of all I had for cast and crew for this. Yeah, just a nice movie made by people just working their jobs. Maybe the reason that Bob Clark could do these different kinds of movies is because he's like, I don't know, I'll direct that, sure.
Yeah.
Who cares? Got a script?
Yeah. I think part of the beauty of this movie too is that like it's not like personally I don't know any of these people from anything else. I just know them from A Christmas Story.
Sure.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And like I like the fact that it's not a big star that I can carry baggage with from somewhere else, because part of this movie is that like you kind of dump your own childhood somewhere in there, or you find it amidst something. And I think you can only do that with like more like nameless or people that don't have big names to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least that's what I
Avatars. People you can
basically
place yourself in. And speaking of that, like maybe getting into some of our favorite scenes, like I think my favorite scene is the one I already mentioned. It's the final scene, which is sad because that's where I really felt like I got the movie. But I really enjoyed that scene. I loved the chaos of it. I love when comedies get really chaotic.
Yeah.
And when there's like a lot of spinning plates.
It's like sitting there, like reading the newspaper, and the dogs come by. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And he puts it up. Dogs go by again. What's going on?
Like, I should be more concerned about this. Give it a second, because I've done that as a parent too. Like something crazy happens, like I'm not going to react. Let's give that one a second. Yeah. Actually, that's a huge deal.
Yeah. I should react. I am the only one who can react.
And so between like Ralph finally gets his BB gun, right? And then he makes up the whole story about the icicle coming down and knocking his glasses off and breaking them.
I shot my eye
out. And then coming back in and the turkey and the dogs eat it. I loved that whole scene in the house. That was really that I genuinely laughed at that alone by myself. I really enjoyed that. What are you guys? Can you guys even pick a favorite scene?
Also, my favorite quote is that scene after the dogs eat it. The dad rushes outside and just yells, "Sons of bitches! It's like the loudest, most obnoxious like yell and scream and cursing you've ever heard in a film before. And also, like, yes, I feel that frustration. Oh man, I love that.
It's really funny.
Yeah, that's a wonderful scene. I've always loved that scene. I think my favorite scene is almost like a nostalgic one. Is it's after he beats up the bully, and he goes home and he has to like calm down because he's like so shaken up, and then he's worried about Dad coming home. He's like, "Oh, the sky is purple outside. Dad's coming home any second."
Yeah,
and like that has happened to me where it's just like, "Oh man, Mom's gonna tell Dad something terrible that I did. I don't know how Dad's gonna react." In fact, there's like this one very particular moment I had. It worked out different where I had thrown up in my dad's truck.
Oh, why would you do that
unexpectedly? Yeah. Obviously, it wasn't intentional or anything, but like it was my dad's truck. My dad loved his truck.
Yeah.
Right, and like I wasn't particularly sick. I just vomited. I didn't tell anybody I was like feeling woozy. It just happened. I was sitting. Like it was a Ford F-150, and there are these like dumb little tiny fold-out seats.
Oh yeah,
sitting in the back. Yeah, I was sitting in one of those, just spewed everywhere. It was awful and smelled horrendous. And I was like so nervous to tell my dad that I had thrown up in his truck. So like I think I gotten like one of my siblings to come out with me, and he was like sitting around watching TV, and it's like they're like, "Dad, Jesse threw up in your truck." And I was like, "Yeah, Dad, I threw up in your truck." He's just. Or no, we didn't say the track. I just said, "Dad, Jesse threw up in the car." He's like, "Oh, okay." And then my sibling was like, "Oh, I thought Dad would take it a lot worse that Jesse threw up in the truck." He's like, "Wait, Jesse threw up in my truck?" But he was totally fine. He was obviously kind of like frustrated and annoyed, but it was totally fine. And I love that this scene because it ends up happening that way. Like, it's basically fun.
Yeah.
Right? They're talking about, like, Dad's gonna kill Ralph.
And, like, he's crying under the sink.
Yeah.
Just like, do you want to come out? No. Do you want some milk? Yeah.
And then when dinner's ready, she, like, knocks on the cupboard, and he, like, silently comes out. And if you look at the dad's face, he just
I was staring at the dad.
sighs
The dad's
and
just
rolls.
Dad's like, what?
What is going on?
Right.
Like, whatever. Yeah.
It would take so much energy for me to ask about that.
Like, this is working.
And then Ralphie comes out, and then the mom and the dad have this great exchange where he's just like, "What happened today?" Like, well, Ralphie got in a fight, and then he looks like very intentionally says, "What kind of a fight?" And she's just like, "Oh, you know how boys are." And then she changes the subject
To
and
sports.
obviously, to sports. But the dad gives a look, and the look is like, very obviously, I know that this is a conversation that we're going to have later. But yeah, I get it. I'm going to switch to sports right now. And he gives her like this like 3-second pause. And it's like, oh yeah. And then they start immediately laughing with each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that interaction. That is a very like parental interaction that I've had already like many times. Like, oh, did you like, there's always that question in your eyes, like, did you deal with this? Did you deal with this problem?
What's the follow-up?
Oh, you got it? All right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I really like that.
Oh man, there's so much. I relate to this kid a lot. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely like. I mean, I was kind of like that when I had like as a kid. I got angry. Generally when there was some sort of injustice and I couldn't figure out my way out of a mess, and you know I was chubby, so I got bullied a good bit. I remember one time like kind of losing it with a kid too. And so like when I saw this when I was 16, I was like, holy shit, like that's a very familiar scene here where he just sort of goes red and beats up the bully, and it's like he goes too far with that, which was wild. So I like, and the way his imagination goes when he's like handing in his essay to the teacher, and he's just like, oh, it's going to be the most amazing, like A plus, plus, and then it doesn't, like the world doesn't meet his expectations or like his imaginations about things, and it's just he gets crestfallen. It's hard to pick out.
It's like the kid version of that scene from 500 Days of Summer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Dude, can I just say that like there was one scene in there where I was just like, oh my goodness, that almost sounds like a little Mike. It's really funny. It's when they're standing in line for Santa, and then the witch randomly comes up to Ralphie. And Ralphie's just like, leave me alone. I'm thinking.
Oh my gosh, yeah. There's a weird kid in line who's just like, it's like, yes, nice, very good. Yeah. So I don't know, like picking out a best scene is like, what's my favorite part of being me? None of these things. No. I think it's got to be the scene with the at the car when they're changing the tire. That is just great, and it's fun because I actually haven't watched it for a few years since we started having kids, and so I'm seeing a lot more of that, I guess, of the parents in this, like of how with you go, like they're sitting in the car, they get a flat tire, and it's like, oh, my old man was, you know, the fastest tire changer this side of the Mississippi or whatever it was.
He gets out of the car. And it's like time.
Yeah, like 4 minutes, no more than 4 minutes.
And also, why is this happening so often?
I think he mentions that like his old man's tires are barely rubber.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
He says it's like passive, but it's like why?
The spare he takes out is completely smooth.
Yeah, that's not a safe tire to drive on. But then his mom's like, you know what? Go help your dad. And the kid's like so excited. He's like, oh my gosh, go help dad. Like this was the first time anyone had suggested that I help my father at anything. And so he's out there and he's like holding, he's got like his dad's like, oh no, hold it this way. He's like frustrated with him a little bit because he doesn't know exactly what the dad wants.
Because kids are not helpful. Kids are really not helpful.
Yeah, he doesn't know. I mean, like who would?
Yeah.
But then like so he drops the nuts in it and then his dad comes back to do something and he whacks the hubcap with the I guess they're nuts or bolts or whatever the hell they are. Yeah. And they go flying in the air, and for one, millisecond, I saw them all lit up by all the headlights, and then they were gone. He said, "Oh fudge," but I didn't say fudge, and I was always just like, "Oh, this is horrible." And I was like, his dad's really the cause of all this. Like, he's kind of a jerk here.
Yeah,
yeah.
But you see him like smile and laugh about it as it's happening. He's like, "Go back in the car. I'm gonna have to tell your mother." Like
that's exactly what reminded me of that story. Yeah, because like I was in trouble.
Yeah,
but like everyone knew it was really funny.
It's kind of like a rite of passage trouble where it's like you can't just say this stuff.
You're gonna get punished for this, but that was pretty funny.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And just the whole process of the mother just like putting the soap in his mouth and stuff. But my favorite moment of all is when she just kind of like looking at the soap, like, I don't know if I should have done this. Like I called his friend's mom and now that kid's getting beat up. Like this is horrible.
You can hear the child. It's like really getting thrashed on the other side of that phone.
Like, oh, Mom, what did I do? What did I do? She just like looks at the soap. She's like, oh. She tries it. Oh, this is disgusting and throws it away. Yeah. It was great. It was great. I love that. That's my favorite scene.
Nice.
Yeah.
Altogether.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
Could I throw one more favorite scene?
Yeah,
of course.
One honorable mention, I guess, would be like the end scene when he finally gets the gun.
Oh yeah.
And it's dad being like, "Did you get everything you wanted for Christmas?" Ralphie's like, almost. He's like, "Oh, almost. Well, yeah. That's life." But I see something over there. What's that behind the desk?
Yeah.
And it's just like the most beautiful dad moment. It's like, yes, this dad has been listening. He does know what his son wants. And then his son gets it. And it turns out his dad, not Santa Claus, not the mom, not the teacher, was the one that if he had just gone to, of course he would have given it to him.
Yeah.
And as a dad, I get that. I don't think my kids don't go to me as the go-to, but yeah, I'm going to do something like this on Christmas. Because I'm always listening. I know what they want. And just how excited the dad is that he's opening it. Like, do you know how to pour the little pellet?
Yeah, he keeps trying to touch it and do it.
They spill everywhere. They spill everywhere. Oh.
Yeah. As a dad, I related to that so much. I was like, yes, that is the experience on Christmas sometimes that I go for.
Yeah.
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 I look forward to doing that more as well. It's a really sweet moment because from the perspective of kids, dads can be really frightening and really terrifying at times. We can be gruff and loud and kind of insensitive, and
and we're so much bigger.
Yeah, and we smell so much bigger. Rough. Yeah. Our hands are rougher, and
we've got hair everywhere.
There's a lot of hair. But sometimes when you can humanize with a kid like that, and sometimes children are around their mothers more often, sometimes around their fathers more often. Obviously families are what they are, but sometimes the parent who's not around them more often can seem a little strange, a little scary. And at least for me, that was definitely my dad. And so it was cool seeing that in this movie. It made me feel a certain way I haven't felt in a long time. And it did make me remember some Christmases talking about presents that I really wanted. BB gun or otherwise. Actually, I was given a pellet gun. I didn't want a pellet gun. I was given one for Christmas. One year I did not want anything to do with it. And Dad was like, "Here's a pellet gun." I was like, "Oh." And he's like, "What, you don't want a pellet gun?" I was like, "I don't know what that is." And so he enrolled me in 4-H target shooting with a pellet gun and got me good at it. It was fun. I enjoyed it, but it was never something I really asked for. I really wanted a pistol.
Oh, a real pistol.
I eventually got a pellet pistol. That was great. I did eventually get a revolver when I was 18. My dad still technically owns it, but it's mine when I go home. It's just a 22 single action revolver that we use for target shooting. It's a ton of fun. I really enjoy that. But in terms of all-timer stuff, I can remember this one year, and it was The Dark Knight on DVD. I wanted it.
I knew it
so bad. When we do The Dark Knight, which we will be doing sooner rather than later, dear listener, I'll tell this story in more completion. But suffice to say, it was the last present that I opened on Christmas morning. I had wanted this thing so badly. I did not know if I was going to get it, and he hid it until everyone else had opened up all their presents, until I had finished mine, and I was kind of coming to terms with the fact that my parents did not listen to me, and they didn't give a shit about me, and I would have to fend for myself in this cold world with only Batman as my friend.
Yeah.
And he handed it to me in a nice little gift wrap and said, "Oh, and then this is also for you." And I opened it, and it was the Dark. It came in a nice little slip case. It was beautiful. It's one of I still have it, actually. It's one of my most treasured possessions, actually. But that was the big thing. That was the big one. How about you guys? What's like a big one that you got or one that you didn't get?
A big one for me was a Nintendo Wii.
Nice.
Right. So we didn't have a lot. Like, we had a PC, and I played some PC games, and I had like some Game Boy, like handheld consoles, Nintendo consoles or whatever. And that's just not the same. As a big old console that you can play on a giant TV screen in front of your family, and that's where all the new games are coming out on, you know. That's where everything important really happens in the video game world. And that's what I always wanted to be a part of. And we hadn't really had one. I think my older brothers had like a Super Nintendo, but that was obviously way past that time. Like, you know, I wanted to be up to date. And my mom just always said the same thing. Oh, it's instead of like, you'll shoot your eye out, it was always like, it's too much money.
Yeah.
Right. And to be fair, they cost, like, just imagining getting this for my kids, that's like, I don't know, like what, $250? That was $250 plus like $50 per new game.
Yeah.
That is horrendous.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Plus like more for the controller.
Like, I can only afford my own gaming. I can't afford my kids' gaming. Like, what in the world?
When they grow up, they'll be able to get their own video games.
Exactly. Like, I had
They start working at like 8 or whatever. Like, that's when kids start working. That's when they start getting
Yeah. That was the mantra, and it was always true, and it's always like, yeah, I guess. So, like, I mentioned that I wanted it, never, ever expected to have it. But this was like a joint present with me and my little brother, and it was a small, strange box, and I genuinely had no idea what it was. Awesome. Open it up together, and it's a Nintendo Wii. It was like the best Christmas ever. It's like, okay, we get to play like Mario Kart and the new Super Smash Brothers Brawl together. This is amazing. And then my dad tries to set it up, and he was standing way too close to the motion sensor, so like he couldn't figure out like where the little hand icon, where the cursor was on the screen. It's like, I think he actually like threw it down in anger and frustration and just walked away. And then like, me and my little brother looked at each other. We both knew what the problem was, but we couldn't say it.
Yeah.
So we just kind of like quietly walked up, grabbed it. We're like,
I know how to do this.
Hit the A button. Yeah. And then later he comes out, it's just like, oh, you got it, huh? And we're like, yeah. He's like, all right. And then he went and ate.
My job here is done.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yep. Yeah. Nintendo Wii. That's my answer.
So I'm trying to remember if this was a Christmas present or a birthday present. I honestly don't remember.
I have a hard time with that too.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was the best present that I ever got was my guitar, my acoustic guitar that I still have to this day.
Nice.
In that I didn't really expect to get it. We had a classical guitar that was my mom's from the 70s. It's got a beautiful sound to it. And I think it was like my 16th birthday or something. I opened up. I mean, like, she pulled it out. It was either again, I don't remember if it was my birthday or Christmas, but I remember her pulling it out sort of at the end of the festivities and being like, "Oh, there's another present for you," because you can't wrap that up and make it a surprise. If you put it out there, you know what it is.
Yeah.
And it was just this beautiful acoustic electric guitar.
Wow.
That I could plug in as well. Yeah. And cool. She really did not want me to have an electric guitar at all. but
Neither
she
did my
was
mom,
like,
yeah.
what was that?
Neither did my mom.
Yeah. But she was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'll make a compromise here. You can get an acoustic electric. And that was just, it was a really, really big deal that she did that. And I still play that guitar like on a daily basis. It was a nice guitar.
Nice.
Is a nice guitar. And that was everything that I ever wanted. I knew that if I had it, all the girls would fall in love with me, that I would become a rock god, and all my dreams would come true, and they really have.
How many times did you have to play Wonderwall for that to happen?
Too many.
I just want to
So
know, like,
many
I just want to know the
times.
spell. you
So
know?
many times. It was so great. It was like we would bring our guitars to school, like me and a couple of my friends, and man, we would just sit around at school playing music all day long. Everybody loved it. Everybody did love it. Like they loved it when we played Wonderwall all the time.
And everyone loved it. And it was great.
Everybody really loved Wonderwall.
Everyone loves Wonderwall.
They also really loved.
Did you do "I'll Follow You into the Dark"?
Jumper?
Oh yeah, well yeah.
Jumper's good.
I Will Follow You into the Dark. That was actually like that was my song. I was the only one who learned it. It was like new when I got my guitar. And I'll tell you, man, like there were some girls who looked at me differently.
I'm sure they
Whoa,
did.
wait, that guy,
Man, he'll die with me.
he'll follow me into the dark. He'll commit suicide after I die.
Real Romeo and
And
Juliet.
did you learn "Hey There, Delilah" before
Oh,
it came super
Hey
popular?
there, Delilah.
No, that was for the posers.
Yeah,
Eh?
no way. No
Although honestly, if you'd done that, you might have ascended to a new level of pop stardom.
maybe
Every
It's
girl I knew
possible.
loved "Hey There, Delilah."
Yeah.
Yeah.
At that point,
You would get credit even for playing that on the aux.
honestly, like though, at this point, at the time that came out, I was way beyond caring what the girls thought. I was about the music,
Artistry.
and artistic integrity.
Yeah, that makes sense.
As I am to this day.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I once got major cred for being able to sing along to every word on a car ride in like a big, like 15 passenger van. It was with my speech and debate club. It's getting worse all the time. In my speech and debate club, more than half of which was women who were very attractive and who did not like me very much because I was loud. But I did get a round of applause because I knew every word to Tim McGraw by Taylor Swift, and I could sing that
That's
whole
incredible.
thing. It was my version of having a guitar, of being able to play that.
It's the weirdest things what we did in high school.
I don't
you know?
understand it, but if I saw me now, I would punch him in the face.
Yep, same here for me.
Yeah.
and you. Too.
And yeah, we just punch
Yeah,
each other.
Yeah. So there's that one. That's like a grown up thing, and like I honestly, nothing's ever gonna meet that. Like I still play that guitar. That's amazing. I still have this thing that my mother gave to me because she loved me and listened to me and wanted to make a compromise. And I still have it. It's amazing.
I have the Dark Knight DVD over there.
Yeah. It's incredible. But then also
I have the Wii.
You have the Wii.
and you still have the Wii.
But my son has stuffed a bunch of quarters and pennies into it.
Oh my gosh.
So it doesn't do anything anymore.
So wait, so this just joins the tower of dead electronics that you have in your house?
Yeah. Well, so far I still have it. It's still out in the living room. To be honest, I just found out I need to like the special tri screwdriver.
Oh, yeah,
that
yeah.
I just don't have.
Yeah.
And then I'll be able to open it up. And then I don't know. Pray to God that it works.
Something
after I
happens.
take those quarters out. Yeah.
Kids are great.
Ugh.
I want to add one other present that I got though, and this was when my dad was still alive. He took just the greatest joy out of getting us Playmobil. Did you guys ever have Playmobil? They were like these German toys.
Yeah.
They're like, there was kind of like Legos, but less Lego-y and
Yeah.
more like people-y, more doll-y.
I do remember this. Yes.
And so
Oh yeah.
One-
Sorry, I just Googled what they were. Like I knew I'd heard that name. Yeah.
one Christmas they got us the pirate ship, and I guess he had stayed up all night putting this pirate ship together,
Oh wow.
like all night long putting it together because these were not easy things to assemble.
Yeah.
And I just remember coming down the stairs in the morning to like Jingle Bells, like the Bing Crosby Jingle Bells, like they listened to in it's playing in this movie.
Yeah.
And like coming down to seeing that, like this Playmobil pirate ship that was just incredible. And that was a really cool Christmas.
Dude, all right.
Nice.
Actually, I just remembered another one. You know, this is actually such a big deal, and I can't believe I haven't thought about this in years. But like, they got me. My parents got me like a giant like kids swing set with like the fancy swings on it, and then like a big old slide, and then like I can't remember. It was amazing and huge at the time. But they like totally shocked me because it wasn't there on Christmas Eve, and it was there on Christmas because my dad and my older, I think my two older brothers had stayed up assembling it all
In the
together.
dark.
Oh my gosh.
In the dark, yeah.
And it gets cold
awesome.
where your house is too. Holy cow.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was really uncomfortable, but it was like the most shocking present I think I've ever gotten. Because what they said was Santa brought it. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I was just like, Santa, wait.
What a G.
He goes down chimneys. He doesn't just drop things off in the backyard. Like, I know how Santa works. Like, did he have this in the bag? How did he put this together?
How did it get here?
It was mind blowing to me. Yeah.
That's so
and then, like,
cool.
later, my dad would be talking about like, yeah, those were a real pain to us. It's like, wait, what do you mean?
I thought Santa did that.
Shut up, he helped him out. You know.
Stop listening to everything I say so exactly.
Yeah.
Well, those are great.
Anyway.
I will definitely have some more present stories, I think, at a different time.
Yeah.
A lot of stories there. But
yeah,
I guess, like, Jesse, you have down here, because I think it's related to this question. What is the modern day Red Ryder bolt action rifle? Could you clarify this question?
Yeah, like Ralphie is obsessed with getting this present, and it seems like a bunch of kids are probably obsessed with that one thing too.
For sure.
You know? And we go through phases of things. Like, I think maybe when I was like 10 or 12, like airsoft guns were all the rage. Like, I think, at least in my friend group, everybody wanted one. Airsofting was a huge thing. I don't think that's a thing anymore.
No,
that's
people our age doing that still.
Yeah. I think paintballing is still a thing.
Oh, yeah.
That has still managed to be around. Airsofting has kind of died out. You know, so there are things that come up in time and become like the craze.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any sense what that is?
A PS5.
You know what? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still
Roblox.
It's so hard to get.
Roblox. I'm not kidding. I don't really know what it is, but it's
what
Roblox?
Yeah, and it's a video game.
Minecraft?
Yeah,
it's Minecraft. No, Roblox is another game from Minecraft.
Okay.
Yeah, and the kids are playing it.
Are they playing?
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
I'm feeling like an idiot. I don't know if it's
Roblox
I think it's on the computer.
I don't think it's not Minecraft. It's like a bunch of other. It's like an open. I actually don't know what Roblox is. I've seen it played. I used to see it played by some of my older students some years ago. They were really into it, but it was like a bunch of mini games. It's like the floor would turn to lava and stuff like that, and then jump around, and it was like tournament fashion. But I couldn't even tell if that was the way the game was supposed to be played, or if that was just one game within the game that was being played.
Sure. It's a game platform.
So
it allows users to program games and play games created by other users. So I think there's like
the
Minecraft
popular version.
Okay, yeah.
Streams?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think so.
But
I'm still repping.
You really think that's?
I don't know. Maybe it is, but like,
I know a
Animal
couple
Crossing right now. Isn't that the huge thing?
I think that's over.
I don't think it's over.
I don't know. I honestly have no idea.
Did you say Animal Crossing?
Yeah, I thought Animal Crossing was like
still a big deal.
Is it?
Still big.
I mean, it's not as big as it was during like the beginning of lockdown. Yeah, that was when like it exploded.
Yeah.
The adults aren't playing it.
Well, no, you know what just dropped? Halo Infinite just dropped.
That's true.
And then Call of Duty.
Was
it Vanguard? Is that?
But I mean, okay, but these are like specific video games.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so PS5s, that's huge.
Yes.
Like kids want PS5s.
Yeah.
Is there like any non-video game thing?
I honestly
are they
don't know.
into Nerf guns? I remember Nerf guns were big for a while.
Nerf guns are still a thing, but they're like the same as they always were.
But
basically the same appeal.
Hopefully they're a little better designed. I'm actually going to get some soon. I got my daughter really into a rubber band gun.
Oh, nice.
Dude,
those okay.
Cool. Yeah, they're rad.
Yeah, my 3-year-old son just got one for his birthday. Past guest Letney gave it to him.
Thanks, Letney.
having a blast, but he can't pull it back by himself. That's the one issue. Like, he's too young for that to happen.
I hate kids' toys
a little bit more
strength. Can't play with by themselves.
I mean, it does say like 8 and up. So to the box's credit, they weren't designed for 3-year-olds, but like they should be.
Yeah, I don't even have a sense of this when I was a kid, because when I was a kid, I grew up in a pretty rural place,
right? Yeah,
and basically everyone there was just about guns and hunting. So like every birthday was just either a birthday closer to when you could get a gun, or was another birthday where you got a gun. And I obviously was not really a part of that. I never really got into hunting. I liked target shooting.
Mm-hmm.
That was always really fun for me. I was involved competitively in that for a few years, but generally no. And so I didn't ever have a sense of what kids were into, except like it was hunting. And then the girls were really into the new phones, because that was like when the Motorola Razr.
Oh, the Razr.
Yeah. You could play music on it. That was a really big deal.
That was like a high watermark of society.
Yeah. Someone would pull out like a bedazzled razor. You're like, holy shit. That's all that I really
spent money on that thing.
Yeah. And then stayed up all night putting stuff on it. But yeah, no, it just now for me, all I can see is, I still want a PS5. Like, I'm still out here going like, I'm not staying up till midnight for the Best Buy drop. Okay.
Sounds miserable. Yeah. How come you haven't gotten one yet? How is it still the case that PS5s are sold out everywhere? This is really infuriating me. I want you to get one.
I know why. No, it's really because I think that there's obviously supply chain shortages, but there's also, we're coming up on shortages on the materials needed to make chips, which is really scary. It's really frightening. I don't like this future. We need to find some other way around that. This got scary and dark. I don't like this.
Recycle them.
Yeah, I know. Stop throwing them away.
No electronics are actually like recycled. Once, like, people can do amazing things if they actually like siphon electronics to where they should go to be reused, but they never are. They're just chucked, and then and people throw perfectly, like, most things in your phone, even if your phone is not working, still work.
Yeah.
So it's just like perfectly usable parts just gone.
Yeah, and
Jesse,
sometimes like software issues.
What should I do with all, like, I have never thrown away a phone. I have all of the phones that me and my wife have ever had. There's like,
you could, there are electronic recycling centers.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, those do exist. You're asking the wrong guy. I have the Tower of Electronics, remember? See, I keep my shit around in case I ever need it, which is a terrible way to be.
Yeah, electronic recycling center sounds like I'm giving something to someone and I'm never going to have it back again.
Yes.
I don't want to do that.
Well, you can continue having it, and then eventually the batteries will leak all over, and then they'll be completely unusable. No.
Interesting trade here.
It is hard. You gotta get rid of them at some point. Listen, at some point you have to let go of that one phone that has that one text from that one girl that said the nice thing.
No, I was able to. I figured out how to like port everything over, and also that girl is my wife.
I'm so glad that you both have like this the weight of time around your necks.
I don't. I just have the weight of just random shit on
That's
my
fair.
neck. Because, like, I have these photos and, like, I'm never going to read that stuff again, and I know it, and I'll be fine if they're going away, but, like, I don't know what to do with it, so I'm going to keep it right there.
I think what I did once in a rash decision, I think I stuck all my phones on, like, an industrial magnet at one point. I was like, nope, I never want to have to look back at this and be embarrassed by anything I said. And I did it, and like, I walked away, and I was like, gonna totally regret that later, and I did, but now I can't go back, so.
See, I keep them because I have like this idea of myself is figuring out a way to turn them into like smart devices in my home. I've never done that. I don't know how to do that. I don't know why I think I'm going to, but that's why I have them.
It's a sweet image.
It would be cool if I was that person.
Sick. But instead, if at some point, you're 40, 50 years old, maybe say like the police need to come to your house for some reason. They're going to arrest you because you look like a domestic terrorist.
I mean, that's going to be everybody. Like, everyone's going to have like 50 old phones that sort of work in their house.
This is true. Just in case.
Yeah, just in case.
Okay.
This is going far afield.
Yeah, we're a little bit over.
Yeah.
What are we talking
Well,
about?
you know
here?
what? It's totally fine because that's the way this movie
Yeah.
is. This movie wants us to have these sorts of conversations. That's what it's here for.
It's true.
Yeah.
Maybe
So here we are.
maybe you want to ask your next two
this
questions.
is the spirit. Next two questions.
Phrase them how you wish them to be phrased.
Oh, okay. So one thing that I've been struck with is I have related to these parents more over the years. Man, I don't even know how to ask this question, but like, I'm sometimes I wonder about these parents because we've I don't think we've really talked about this on the podcast, but normally there's some stereotypical parental figures that we have. We have like the controlling mom, and then we have like the kind of stupid dad.
Yeah.
Who's just kind of like going along with everything. They're sitcom
A homer
parents, is what I call them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think about sitcom parents in particular, and kind of labeling the parents in this movie as sitcom parents? Are they that way? Are they blandly stereotypical? Is there something more?
I think they go a little bit further than sitcom parents. Like they definitely at times do feel that way, but I sometimes feel that way as myself. Sometimes the things that come out of my mouth, I go, "Oh, that was embarrassing. I can't believe my writer should be fired." But I think at a lot of moments they do get close to a real humanity that I find pretty compelling. Actually, a lot different than say, Kevin's dad from Home Alone. Kevin's dad is a pretty nothing dad.
Yeah.
He seems really checked out and not really even all that concerned that they left a dang kid.
Yeah.
Unlike Kevin's mom, who feels very real. And I think that a lot of the stuff that we were raised with is a lot of it comes from people who do have some dad issues and who connect a lot more with their mothers as they were growing up through circumstances or whatever. I think a lot of our creative stuff that we're shown is from people like that. And I think that skews it towards one direction. But sitcom parents, I really despise them. They really annoy me. I hate when a show where the parents are so pat. And I also hate a show, speaking of someone that's involved in this movie who's involved in a show, Peter Billingsley is the producer on F is for Family. I've watched several episodes of F is for Family because I think Bill Burr is really funny. And that show makes me so sad. That show makes me depressed, like to my bones, because it is in going for a real life look at parents and the jokes about that just makes me sick because that's not how families should be. And I know the point of the show is like, see how the damaged family functions anyway, but it still makes me ill. I don't want to have that kind of stuff in my life. So I would rather have pat, comfortable stuff than like the really probing comedy. Like, isn't it sad what you have to do as a parent? Like, I don't need reminded of that. That's my life.
Well, unless we're talking about Rick and Morty.
Yeah, and Rick and Morty, though, I mean, they all suck.
Because Beth and Jerry
They suck.
are so terrible, and they're the ultimate sitcom. Yeah. She is like the strongest woman. He is like just the... Do you remember that episode where he literally becomes a slug? With like showing his butt
with like the jiggly butt cheeks.
They're codependent.
Yeah, and she's like a really evil like alien. Yeah. I like that because it's so extreme. Like you can get something out of that universal, right?
It's more making fun of like the trope than it is maybe anything real.
Yeah, but it always relates back to reality.
Yeah,
right. Even though they are extreme characters, it does ground their humanity, which makes it enjoyable to watch, right?
Yeah,
and not just throwaway. But,
yes,
as far as these characters, these feel like people. The old man and the mom from A Christmas Story feel like people.
Yeah, I found myself. I
okay.
agree with that, and I found myself also like relating to them more and to, I don't know, seeing it from their perspective, and it felt kind of like an insight into how my kids are viewing me and my wife.
Yeah.
Like I don't think either of us are exactly like either of these people. But I mean, I like stomp into the house after my day at work and just like, hey, how are you doing, kids? How's the family doing? What's new today?
Yeah.
Like I'm reading my book, like, and they're just like, this guy, my dad is this. My dad is the biggest. My dad is the wildest. My dad is the whatever. Like that's a really, I don't know, really interesting insight that this movie gave me that I didn't really expect. Like in my memory, this is just a fun movie that's a memory of my childhood, but now it's kind of giving me an insight into, I think, how my kids are seeing me.
I need to shape up.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm not, cussing out the heater.
I did that just last week.
Yeah.
Honestly, when I was thinking of Vito a lot every time the dad came up and was like wrestling the heater, I was like, I know that's Vito.
Yeah.
I was wrestling with the heater last weekend. It was a long process. It was arduous. There was a lot of cursing. My daughter was around for some of that. I'm not sure how much or at which point when I said certain things, but definitely for parts she maybe shouldn't have been.
Yeah. I kind of grew up thinking that these people were more stereotypical sitcom people. Like, that's how I always viewed them as a kid. But now I'm like, oh no, I relate to these guys so much. Like, the way he gets excited when something breaks around the house, like, I don't get like, for me, it's like very particular things. Like, I don't know. Honestly, it depends on my mood, but sometimes I just get like really amped that something is wrong. Like, all right, I gotta go fix this thing. Like when he's just like sitting around doing the dishes, and then it starts making a noise. He's like, it's a clinker,
and he's happy. Like, he is stoked.
Yeah, he's really happy. Yeah, he's been looking for that, and that's sometimes that's how I get it. It's just like, all right, I've been noticing that thing has been happening with the freezer, with the ice maker's been making that noise. I'm going to be on the lookout. Oh, there it is! And then you're like, all right, what's the issue?
I'm going to go figure this out. Yeah. It's like you got something to do.
Yeah.
There's something to do for the next couple days.
And that is how we very slowly turn into our fathers.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it happens sometimes.
So if I were to give you, Jesse, a major award for being the dad fixer, what would you do?
Well, no, it's for his mind powers. I have mind powers.
Sorry. So if you joined Mensa and you scored astronomically and you were sent a major award, what would you do?
Well, what would I do with the award? Actually, what is the question here? Isn't it Mike's question?
What would you do if you won a major award is the question.
Yeah. Could you explain the question?
Mike? Would you put it in your window? I mean, a major award.
Are we talking about a leg lamp?
That was a leg lamp.
Oh, there it is.
If you got a leg lamp as a major award, what would you do? I found myself thinking about that a lot. Like, would my blinders be on so much that I wouldn't be like, this is not offensive? Something like this is offensive to my wife and the whole world?
You know what, Mike, as and Jesse, you've all been down here in my basement recording studio, my lair, as it were. And if I had won a major award that was a leg lamp, it would be probably right here on this table.
Yeah, right.
It would be down here.
Yeah. But even that would be, I don't know. Yeah.
Personally, I really wouldn't care. I would laugh really hard if I got sent a leg lamp.
It would be great.
As an award. Like, how absurd is that?
I don't understand it. Like, it's so specific. There's a real story behind there. But like, I don't know what it is or what it could possibly be explained as.
Yeah. Well, no. So there was like this thing in the paper. Like, did you catch it? There's a thing that he like sends in
for the writer of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a bizarrely specific thing to put in the movie. It must be real.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you could just think that up.
Someone must have gotten a leg lamp as a major award.
This movie, if the guy narrating it, I think he's the one who the story is based on.
He wrote it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't just think he wrote it. He wrote memoirs.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
And then the movie is based on his memoirs, and he's narrating.
So that's this one, and it's 2 sequels.
There's 2 sequels?
I think there are 2 sequels. I think they're terrible. I don't know. I've never seen them or cared about seeing whatever a sequel to this might even look like.
There's a Christmas Story too, and then there's like one called like An Afternoon or something.
Huh.
Yeah.
I have no desire to see them. This is great. This is a one-off. Like, it's not... doesn't need anything else.
This guy sounds like he sometimes sounds like Bob Saget.
Yeah.
Like, there's moments watching this where I'm like, man, How I Met Your Mother really took a lot from this movie.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going down a rabbit hole now, seeing if the leg lamp is a real thing.
Mike, are you on tenterhooks?
I am on tenterhooks.
It sounds like it was.
Huh.
The design Yeah, so the leg lamp first described in 1966 in Shepard's novel "In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash," under the short story title "My Old Man," and this special award that heralded the birth of pop art. Yeah, okay. So I don't know. I guess it's a real thing, unless he made it up. And that's possible. You know what? I've only ever heard from the internet that A Christmas Story is true, and I don't always trust the internet. So who knows?
Yeah, it could just be one of those things that is taking off on a
second
life
life
of its own.
Yeah. I'm going to say that I think it's real, and that I bet it's sitting somewhere in some living room in Indiana right now.
Probably. Well, I'm sure, like, at least because of this movie, there's a million lamps that are sitting around in people's basements and living rooms and windows.
I mean, as we were just looking on the Wikipedia page for this, the last Blu-ray release of this came with a string of leg Christmas lights.
Yeah, there you go. So if you are a connoisseur of leg lamps, that's how you get them, I guess.
Multiple leg lamps.
Multiple leg lamps. Yeah.
Well, I have to ask then, is this a dad movie?
Yes, this is a dad movie.
Absolutely, it's a dad movie. I think I've already...
It's hilarious. Like, this is fun. And it kind of grows with you, like, surprisingly grows with you. I didn't expect that. Yeah. Like, sitting down to watch this, that I would be like, actually get something out of it, but I did. And it is it's a family movie that you can sit down with your whole family to watch. It's something that you can throw on and fall asleep to. I think it's a dad movie all around. And I think it's something like it's all around. What about you, Jesse?
Basically everything you just said. I agree with all of that, and I'll also add that, like, this is a real dad that we're seeing.
Yeah,
and I appreciate that. He's not just a stupid dad. He can be kind of stupid sometimes. He can be a real idiot. Like, remember when I don't think I've ever paid attention to this, but when he says that, like, the green lights are out and it's the blue lights, and then after he turns them on, he's just like, oh yeah, see, the green ones are out.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, that scene is... I love his relationship with electricity. Like, that is just terrifying, but also... As I add more extension cords to my house, I'm just realizing I'm a lot more like this guy than I ever thought I would.
What does he say? He got the fuses by the gross.
Yeah. And the kids, like, from the kid's perspective, he's like, this guy knows what he's doing. And it's like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah. And he doesn't, but he's clearly out there providing for his family. Oh, yeah. And he gives a shit about his kids. He really does. It comes out in, like, more subtle ways than even they can comprehend, or I comprehended when I was younger. But I can look at it now and say, like, yeah, he really does care. And I like that sort of subtle depth in kind of a screwball comedy with the dad in it.
Yeah. No, that's really nice, and I want to thank you guys.
Do you want your kids to think of you with this movie? Is this like that's another like criteria where?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I
associate this movie with you. Like, oh my gosh, Dad! Like, he loved A Christmas Story, or he loves A Christmas.
I'm going to be saying these lines around them no matter what for the next, like, 20 years. Yeah. So. I'd like them to know where they come from. So yeah, I want them to associate it with me.
That's good.
I was going to say thank you for showing this to me, but now I'm not going to say that.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Jesse, for solely suggesting this and showing it to me. It's very sweet of you.
Absolutely, yeah.
I guess you're here. No. Thank you guys so much. This is really fun. Thank you for making me watch this. I really appreciate it. This was a good time.
Wait, but you didn't answer if it was a dad movie.
It's a dad movie. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to stand in the way of progress.
All right.
I would be bulldozed anyway. No, I don't. It's not very personal to me, but then again, this is my first time seeing it. And I didn't see it with the family. I didn't see it with the group. I saw it by myself.
Yeah.
Late at night. It was late too. Jeez. But, maybe next year. Maybe next year when the time comes around, it'll be a bigger deal for me. I was just happy to be a part of it finally. It's nice to, like, cross it off the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But
way to join the Christmas Story.
Yeah, I joined it. And that's kind of what the holidays are all about anyway. Everyone coming together. So thank you guys for opening your hearts, showing me this.
Thank you for opening your heart and being shown this.
You're welcome. Thank you for showing me your leg lamp. It was weird. It was weird, but we got through
I'll
it.
show you my leg lamp every day.
But for all of us at Not Your Father's Movies, I'm Vito.
I'm Mike.
I'm Jesse.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.